So, where do we begin? Where do we begin, everybody? The big wreck happened, guys. The big wreck happened on Wednesday, and I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. So yeah, I said that Wednesday this week I was not going to be streaming because I had some work to do. I had something to do. I have been working on some stuff with Sophie over the past few weeks, and we'd finished everything we needed to do. The last thing we needed to do was deliver said thing to London. We're helping a friend with a project, and we just had to deliver the thing to London. Super simple. It's a drive we've done like a bunch of times, so it's not something that I thought would be an issue at all. So we left Brighton at 11 a.m., okay? 11 a.m. in the morning, which is what AM means. We got a couple of snacks for the road, although we thought we're gonna be at our destination at 1 p.m. So we only got we got a couple of bags of crisps, got a little energy bar, and some water. We already had water. We took our bottles of water with us, so we were prepared for like a sort of a short trip kind of thing. Simple. 11 a.m. Wednesday. Perfect. That's all you need to know so far. Yeah, we've never had any major issues with this particular journey before. It's like a little trip up into London, and then like through. Typically, we go through this tunnel. Maybe some of you know it, called Blackwall Tunnel, and then across the river, and then into central London, and then boom, you're there. The tunnel is a key character. Yes, remember that name, Blackwall Tunnel. That is a key character of this story, and we will be revisiting it shortly. The first hour of the trip was fine. It went totally fine. We made our way up into London, dodged a load of traffic, which was good. And then we finally got to maybe about 8 miles away from the destination, which typically that's not very far. You can do 8 miles in a pretty short amount of time. My sat-nav was telling me it's going to take another hour. And I was like, okay. Unusual, but also it's London, so you can expect a little bit of congestion here and there, especially Blackwall Tunnel. Like, there's always a bit of congestion going on around this tunnel because it's a very popular route to go. There's only so many, if I show you here, there's only so many ways to cross over the river into central London. So I was going roughly, let's say, where was it? Not to dox anything in particular. Where was I going? I was going roughly, I'm going to put a little circle here. I think I was going like here. This was basically my destination, right here. And currently, there's a few ways to get over the river. There's over here, there's a bridge here. I think is there a bridge here? I'm not too sure about that. And then this here is Blackwall Tunnel. This is the tunnel that we needed to go through. So basically, this is the trip. So I think from here, we probably would have needed to go like this way, probably along here. And then, yeah, literally there. Like, it's not a difficult trip whatsoever. Not a difficult trip whatsoever. I should also say, this is an important thing to know for the trip. My car's aircon has not been working throughout summer, and it really sucks because it's hot. It's very hot in the car, so you have to open the windows. The aircon only blows like warm air, which really sucks. I need to get it fixed. I've actually scheduled to get it fixed in September, but I've just been putting it off. I've had so much to do. It's been busy time, not been able to do it. So yeah, no aircon. So you're gonna have to imagine no aircon. Another important factor is London was very hot today, unexpectedly hot, 30 degrees Celsius. Some people in the world might say, what are you talking about? That's not hot. People in London will say, yes, that's hot. 30 degrees, pretty hot. And especially when you haven't got like aircon and there's like little wind moving through the car. Anyway, we'll revisit the temperature in a little bit. Another important factor to remember actually here is that I was wearing a jumper today. The plan was to just go into London and come back once we'd dropped off the stuff. We were going to just drive in, drop off all of the stuff we'd made, and come back to Brighton. So I was wearing a jumper because I felt a chill, you know. I felt like summer was on the way out. I thought there was going to be a little chill. Now, Sophie did say, okay, Sophie, as we were leaving the door, Sophie did say, are you sure you want to wear a jumper today? Maybe do you want to take a t-shirt with you because London is going to be hot? And I said, no, it's okay because we're going to be in the car, so that's fine. And also, when we get there, the place we're going to is going to be inside. It's going to have aircon in the building. I think I'll be okay. Yeah, a little bit of foreshadowing there. I chose to wear a jumper. So just to recap, no aircon in the car. I was wearing a jumper. And as I've let you know now, that there was going to be a little bit of congestion to get through. Just a little bit of congestion to get through. Let me show you where we got to when shit really started to hit the fan. So this here, I'm going to mark it in green. This here is like a stretch of road that can sometimes, it can take a little while because of congestion. Before you get into the tunnel, there's a little stretch of road that can take a little while. I got to right here, I believe it was, where the red dot is. I got to there. So far, the trip had been okay. I journeyed up through London and I'd got to here with literally, I think like half a mile maybe to get to the tunnel. So not far at all. And I should have known something was up immediately because the traffic right here, well, basically it was gridlock. It was complete gridlock. And also this road here, complete gridlock. You could see all the cars on the upper bridge, gridlock, just packed with cars, right? I pulled out into the road. I did a right turn to get onto the road and the butt of my car was sticking out into the traffic and there were cars trying to pass me in this direction. And it was really frustrating because I don't know, I was sticking out into traffic and I was like, oh, this is annoying. Like I couldn't fully get in because it was just so busy. So I was basically waiting like that with my car butt in traffic for maybe like 5 minutes. 5 minutes is not too bad in the grand scheme of things, but still annoying. Anyway, after 5-10 minutes, traffic had crawled a tiny little bit. So I managed to get into the lane properly. So no, there's not an issue there now. Like I'm not going to accidentally get hit by another car. So no issues there. We were sitting here. So we got to here for, let's say 12 in the afternoon. Is that PM or AM? That's PM, right? It took us maybe like, I'm going to say 2 hours to get from here to here. That is not a big stretch of road whatsoever. That's maybe like the equivalent of like 20 cars. 20 cars. It's not far at all. It took us 2 hours. Something was up, but we didn't know what. We were like, this is unusually busy, right? This is unusually busy. It was actually at this point, right, that I looked on my phone and I saw that there was an alternate route, but it would take 1 hour and 40 minutes. Like in theory, all I needed to do was travel 8 miles, which was, the sat-nav was telling me like an hour, but it also told me an hour at 12. So the time on the sat-nav could not be trusted anymore. But it was telling me for 1 hour and 40, you could double back and you could go, I'll mark it in another color. I'll mark it in pink. How about that? You could go an alternate route. You could double back and you could go this way and kind of roughly like this. You could go this way, this way, this way, roughly along here. And then you could cross this bridge and then you could blah, 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 blah. You could go like sort of this way. So my sat-nav was telling me, well, you could go this way. You could try going that way. And I was like, oh, but we've already been waiting here for so long. Basically, that sunk cost fallacy was kicking in. I was like, but we've been waiting here for 2 hours. So like, and all I need to do is get here to get through the tunnel. Once I'm through the tunnel, everything will be fine. Supposedly, what I was thinking. So I thought, I don't want to turn back now. I do not want to turn back now. So I waited a little longer, okay? We are crawling. We get to basically here. We get to here at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. We are at the entrance of the tunnel. It is still very, very hot. Cars are cutting each other up. Constant beeping. It's loud. It is so hot. And we are crawling. We're making barely any progress. But at least at this point, we are at the tunnel. What a waste of fuel. Tell me about it. As I said earlier, it's normal for Blackwall Tunnel to have some congestion, but this was ridiculous. I've never been through it this bad before. To make matters worse, 2 of the 3 lanes leading up to the tunnel were closed. So by this point, I was thinking, oh, is this the issue? That there's only 1 lane when normally there's 3? So that's why, you know, it's having to filter into 1 lane, so cars are slowly cutting each other up. That's kind of what I thought was going on here. Boy, was I wrong. That was not the issue. It was actually at this point, 3 p.m., because we were at complete standstill and nothing was moving. People were like getting out of their cars. So I thought, well, I'm going to do the same. I don't want to just sit in the car. I need to stretch my legs. I've already been driving for 4 hours, by the way, at this point. I've been driving for 4 hours. I'm also a very long boy. My knees are cramping up. I have a manual car, so a lot of clutch control. Oh my God, my foot was killing me, man. Funnily enough, I was talking on the way here. I was saying to Sophie, like, I think I'm ready to swap my car out for a new car. I really want an electric. I was saying, literally on this ride, I was saying, I really want an electric automatic car. That's what I want, right? Just to make driving in the future more pleasant, okay? I get out the car. Sophie gets out the car. Other people are getting out the car. People are chatting. People are like, what's going on? Why aren't we moving? What's happening? It is at this point, I start overhearing a conversation. We're quite near the front. We are like maybe 12 cars away from getting in the tunnel. I start overhearing someone saying something. Like someone was talking to somebody else saying like, wait, did somebody died in the tunnel. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? That, my ears like went boing, like what? Like what's happening? So I'm listening. I'm like, what's happening? And then I overheard an extra little bit of saying like, no one died. No one died. He was like, oh, okay. So I was like, okay, so no one died. Thankfully, no one was hurt in the tunnel. But then Sophie got talking to a construction worker who was working just like, because there's a lot of construction work going on around the tunnel anyway, which is why 2 of the lanes were closed. A construction worker said to Sophie, so the tunnel is closed because an electric car caught fire in the tunnel. And you can't put an electric car out with water. You have to wait for it to just burn down and finish by itself. So the tunnel is closed for business. Do you still want an electric car? Maybe. I'm thinking about it. Not sure. The tunnel is closed, we have discovered. This construction worker is telling us you might be sitting here for between 3 to 5 hours. It's 3 p.m. by the way. 3 to 5 hours. We might just be stranded right here in this spot. I can't stress how much you can't just turn around. There is no way to escape this bit. I think this was my first moment of where a bit of panic started to set in. What we later discovered is that basically the car that had caught fire in the tunnel, all the other cars in the tunnel had to get out and abandon their cars without knowing like what was going on. They just had to leave the tunnel. The crazy thing about this, because we read a little bit later when it was reported in the news, the fire started at 12:30. I was here at 12:30, right? I was here. And like there was like nothing told us that was happening. There was like no signage. There was nothing told us that was happening. Otherwise, had I known when we were here that was what would happen, I would have absolutely turned around and just gone the other way. But nothing told us that. So we were just sitting here like bozos, just like thinking that we were going to get through. It was not until here that we discovered, oh no, tunnel's closed. You're not getting through. Not today. We're like, fuck, what do we do? So we're sitting here for about maybe 20 minutes and I'm starting to worry. I'm like, what's going to happen? How long are we going to be here for? What if I need to go to the bathroom? There's no bathrooms around here. So many things are crossing my mind. By the way, this is the only area to cross the river here. As you can see, this is a peninsula. The map doesn't make it look that big, but this is like a peninsula here. So you're really like, you're in it. Like you're trapped in it. Yeah, about half an hour passed and they finally said, okay, we're going to usher you around the tunnel, not through the tunnel, around the tunnel, which would be sort of like going around. And they said you're going to have to leave. You're going to have to leave the peninsula. You're going to have to leave Greenwich Peninsula because you're not getting across this bridge today. So we were like, oh my God, okay. What does that mean? We don't know. Either way, we get moving. So we start moving from 3 p.m. and we start going this way. All the cars, by the way, it's not just me. It is hundreds of cars, all gridlocked, all going back for like all the way back along this line as well. I didn't mention like all the way along here, cars. Everybody trying to get across this tunnel, right? So we start turning around and we start going this way. Very slowly, might I add, because there are so many cars. There are people still coming from every direction thinking they can get through the tunnel. All these roads, gridlocked, everybody trying to get to the tunnel. Nobody knows what's going on. We have no idea where we're going. I did look up the route again to see if I can go this way. This had become madness. Basically, everybody had the idea to then turn around and go along the pink route. So this then became gridlocked. This did not seem like an option in that moment. We need to just get out of London or something. By the way, we're so hot. We're so thirsty. We're having a real bad time by this point. We're losing our minds. We managed to get off the peninsula, thankfully. And eventually, where did we go? We went like here. By the way, we were just trying to figure out what to do. So we were going like all around everywhere. We were just trying to, and also it's just gridlock everywhere. It's just madness. We pull off somewhere like, let's say we got off this big road that we came down earlier. And we came like down this way and we just like parked on a side road at, let's say like roughly like 3:40 or something like that, roughly at that time. We pull off onto a side road, okay? We're really hungry. We need some food. We're debating, do we turn around and go home? Even turning around and going home was almost like it was a very difficult option because all of the roads around here are just cars, gridlocked everywhere. Every road, just absolute gridlock. So even to get out of London was tricky. We saw that there was an Asda. It's not marked on the map, but there is like an Asda here. Right by the IKEA. Look, there's an IKEA right here as well. There's an IKEA and there's an Asda. So we're like, okay, let's try and get to the Asda, because the Asda will have like some food. Asda, by the way, if you don't know, Asda's like just a shopping center. Like it's just like a shop. It's like a food shop. You can go get food and stuff like that. So we say that's the plan. We're going to go to Asda AFAP. Going to get there as fast as possible. Everybody else had the same idea. So we drove off this way and we rejoined the road this way and we got to here at 4 p.m. I'm going to get a new diagram here because it's already getting a little bit messy. This is the area of doom, I guess you could say. The little area of doom. Asda's there. That was what we were aiming for right there. And we get to about here for, let's say 4 p.m. All we need to do is travel half a mile, which is up this way, around the roundabout, this way, and we're in. That's all we needed to do. Half a mile. But the gridlock was just persisting, and it was mad. Coming down this way, gridlock. Coming down this way, gridlock. Cars going down this way, gridlock. Everywhere, complete gridlock. Strangely enough, actually, the entrance to IKEA is like here. Weirdly, not gridlock. I think you can also enter like through here. Around this point, Sophie said, what if we just go to IKEA? We were so like stressed by this point. It was hard to make. It kept feeling like every decision we made was like wrong. So I was like, I don't want to change the plan. We said we're going to go to Asda. Let's just stick to Asda because it's only around the corner. That seems doable. So we're crawling along. We get to like here at like maybe 4:20. There were like long periods of time where we're just not moving. And we're like, fuck, we should have just gone to IKEA. There was like an illegal turning for buses only into IKEA, and we debated it, but we were like, I really did not want to get like a ticket. I really did not want to get in trouble today. It was just so stressful. I didn't want to risk anything. So we were just like, hey, I guess we'll just wait. We decide we need water and we need snacks. So I get out of the car at this point and I walk over to IKEA. Sophie jumps in the driver's seat and I walk to IKEA, which is like a minute walk. I go in, I go to the bathroom, I get snacks, I get drinks. I walk back out a few minutes later. The car still hasn't moved. Sophie, like, the car hasn't moved. So I get back in the car and we keep like crawling along. About 5 p.m. we get here. So like 40 minutes to just crawl, like nothing, barely anything. So at this point, I'm looking on Google Maps on my phone and I'm like, what's going on? What do we do? I then see, I didn't see this with my eyes. I saw this on Google Maps. Over here in the retail park, this here, by the way, around this green, this is a retail park, which has IKEA. It also has Odeon, the cinema. It also has it has Nando's, which I did not see. Otherwise, I absolutely would have just like ducked off into the retail park if I'd known there was Nando's. This right here is clear. This blue line here, no cars, completely clear. We say 3, 2, 1, fuck it. Let's get off the road and get to Nando's. So we drive off and within minutes, we're in the retail park. We are in the green zone. That's great. Let's say it was like 5:15 p.m. We get in. We're in at 5:15 p.m. We can get out of the car. We can switch the car off. We can park up. We can get out of the car, stretch our legs. We're in. Yes. So by this point, I've been driving for 6 hours and achieved like nothing. So it's feeling bad. We're still hot. It sucks. Also, by this point, I'll also tell you, I think I made a note of this because I wanted to make sure I let everybody know this. So I'm so hot and tired that I'm getting irritable, right? And when I get irritable, I become a little unpleasant, but I also get very like sensitive to everything, as people tend to do. Sounds, everybody beeping, I get very sensitive to, and it really just throws me off, which is why I can't make good decisions, which is why I couldn't make the decision to just turn off quickly and go into IKEA this way, which is why I was like, no, stick to the plan, go to Asda, because I was so irritable. I was, overstimulated by little things. So people like cutting in front of you was driving me mad. There was like this woman who was like on her phone in her car, not paying attention to the traffic, and she was on her phone looking down, not looking forward, and she had like a kid in the back. That was annoying. That was making me really angry because she just wasn't moving when it was time to move. Then you see cyclists like going through without wearing helmets, and that always irritates me anyway. But like it's like every cyclist I see without a helmet, I'm like more like noticing them. I'm like, it's just everything's irritating me. Everything that would normally like irritate me a bit is irritating me at like tenfold. Yeah, we get into here, a safe little haven. We are effectively now stuck in this little retail park. So So what we're thinking is, first things first, we need food. We need sustenance. We need Nando's. So we go into Nando's and we're like, let's just go to the bathroom. Let's order some food. Let's chill. Thankfully, Nando's was basically empty. There was a moment where we thought it was closed. We walk up to the doors and we're like, oh my God, it's closed. And I'm like, wait a minute. No, it's not. There's just no one in there. So we go in. It's nice and air conditioned. It's cool. It's empty. It's quiet. And I'm like, I could almost cry because I'm like, I'm so happy that this is like, yeah, my own private Nando's. So we sit down. We order some food and we're just absolutely dead, man. We are just on the table, just like head in hands, just like, what have we just been through, man? What have we just been through? That was it, and it's not over yet. There's more to come, but at this moment we're just like, we just need food. So we order some food and like this lovely waitress comes over and I think she thought we were like so much like in pain because she came over, she's like, would you like the blinds closed around you? Because we're sitting in the corner like on this little round table on the nice soft benches and like and it's very hot still. The sun is blasting through the glass. Like, would you like the blinds closed? We're like, yes please, yes please. So she closes the blinds and we're like, oh my God, this is like perfect. The food arrives. I will not lie. The best sweet potato wedges I have ever eaten. The best sweet potato wedges that I have ever eaten. Maybe amplified by the fact that we were in this catastrophic situation, but they were the best sweet potato wedges rather, that I'd ever eaten. And I had a wrap. I had like a chicken wrap. I had some avocado, some like sweet chili jam. Very, very tasty. It was exactly what I needed. How long was it since you last both ate? We'd had a couple of snacks in the car. We had some like crisps in the car, but that was it. So we hadn't really, I had breakfast. Also, yeah, I had breakfast at like 8 a.m. So like it had been a long time since I'd actually like eaten like a meal. So yeah, I was so hungry, but I was like taking my time and I was really like getting my energy back and I was feeling like better. Every bite I was feeling better and better. Thankfully, I was getting rejuvenated. I drank so much water as well. I just kept going up to the machine, refilling my water, ice water, just constantly like knocking it down. I was feeling good. It was about 6 p.m. By this point. It was about 6 p.m. now. About 6 p.m. We'd finished our food and we were like, right, what now? What do we do now? We were debating going to the cinema. There's an Odeon in this retail park. We were like, we could kill some time. We could go watch a film. We were like, what's on? There was The Crow. There was like The Trap, which apparently is really awful. There was a couple of other films. We were like, okay, that's an option. If we need to wait out, that's an option. Although, actually, I should also add, you have a 5-hour time limit in this retail park. You only have 5 hours, which actually is like a pretty good amount of time, to be honest. But not when you're like surrounded with gridlock traffic and like you literally can't leave. If you over 5 hours, you get fined. That's all I knew. That's all I knew. That was a consideration as well. I was like, okay, well, we entered at 5, like, let's say 5 p.m. We have till 10 p.m. Then we've got to go. Maybe we'd get fined. Maybe we could appeal it. Also, that's just dawned on me how funny it is that we were debating going to go see The Trap whilst we were trapped in a retail park. We're going to IKEA. That's what we're doing. We're going to IKEA. So we walk on over to IKEA and we just slowly take our time to pootle about. We meander. We just take our time looking at everything that we absolutely don't need to buy, sit on every chair. There was a moment actually where we just like sat, and again, IKEA, basically empty. There was like a few people milling about. There was like one man and his son like in one of the beds under the covers. So I imagine a few people had the same idea as us where they're like, I need to get out of this traffic. I'm just going to go to IKEA and just chill the hell out. There was like people sitting on the sofas and stuff. Sophie and I took a minute to just like, we sat on the sofas. We were like sitting on the chairs and we had a good view actually of the traffic at this point. In fact, so this is basically where we were. We were down there. This was our view from IKEA, and the cars were just not moving at all. Cars were not moving. So we were like, thank God we're at least not in that right now. But anyway, we're here. We're in IKEA. So we kept walking around. We picked up a few things. We actually did buy a few things. There were a few things here and there that we actually bought. We were definitely our minds were starting to ease a little bit, like just being out of the car and in a new environment. You might have seen on my Instagram, I was posting a few photos. I was being a little silly in there. I was taking a few snaps here and there. Just chilling the hell out in IKEA. Yeah, I think we're done in IKEA by maybe like 7 p.m. I want to say by 7 p.m. we buy some stuff. We get some more snacks, some more drinks. We were drinking so much water. We just got some more water to refill our water bottles. We were like, right, now what? The traffic, still really mad. Nothing had moved. We were like, we're hoping maybe the tunnel will open back up and that would help. But as far as we can see, literally, we are just completely, we're trapped. It felt a lot like a disaster movie or like a Last of Us kind of situation. You know, in like The Last of Us, when shit hits the fan and everybody has the same idea to get on the roads and try to get out the city, it was like that. Nothing's moving because everybody's just trying to get out. And the only difference here is that we have an IKEA with food and water accessible, and thankfully no zombies. Yeah, without the zombies, which is probably, you know, the best of both worlds. Well, all the silver linings, we were just like, it could have been worse. We kept trying to think of all the things that could have been worse. We were like, even though this situation was so bad, we kept thinking of all the things that could have been worse. Anyway, it's 7 p.m. now. Just as a reminder, we left Brighton at 11 a.m. We've virtually made no progress, but it's 7 p.m. We get back in the car and we're like, right, what do? We need a plan. What are we going to do? We're contacting our friend who we've been trying to meet up with all day. We're like, if we can get to you tonight, we might have to stay with you tonight. We might have to stay at your place. And they were like, of course you can. Of course. If you get to us, stay here. That was the new plan. We weren't originally going to stay in London, but the new plan was we're probably going to try and stay in London. We don't know what time we're going to get to them, but we're probably going to try and stay in London. Obviously, we don't have anything with us. We don't have like all the like the basic necessities. We don't have like toothbrush, toothpaste, that kind of thing. I didn't have it. I needed the thing I needed, and this was the reason I originally wanted to go to Asda. I needed to get out of this hot jumper. I needed to get out of this hot jumper and into like a t-shirt. So at 7 p.m. we decided to walk over to the Asda. We walked over to the Asda, so I'll use purple for this. So we walk over this way, we cross the road, we walk along the path, and we go to the Asda. We get a few things. We get some t-shirts. I get some new on foot, because the car certainly will not make the journey. So I get some new socks. I get a change of underwear. I get like a couple of t-shirts, just some clothes, just to feel like I can refresh myself. Asda car park, also completely packed with cars trying to get out, cars trying to get in. It's just like completely gridlocked in here as well. So like, I'm kind of glad that we weren't here anyway. I'm kind of glad that we didn't actually get into here. I think IKEA, this was the saving grace. Getting to the Nando's IKEA combo. What a wombo combo, man. That was the play. That was for sure the play. Anyway, so we get our bits from Asda, we go back to the car, and then we just chill. We chill until about 9 p.m. Got a little photo of the sunset. Very nice sunset. So we go back into IKEA one last time before it closes, and we get a couple more bottles of water for the road, and we decide we have to be out of this retail park in an hour because otherwise we'll get fined. Let's just get back on the road, because either we're waiting here or we're waiting on the road. So we might as well like be productive here and wait somewhere productive. I'm looking up the route. I'm looking up the pink route, and it's saying, okay, well, you can do this in an hour. You can get over here and you can cross this bridge in an hour. By this point, I don't even believe the sat nav anymore. I'm like, an hour, I do not believe it. Either way, we're like, well, we have to leave anyway, so let's leave. We were also debating just going home as well. We're like, well, so it's either an hour to get to our friend, or it's an hour and a half to get home. But either way, I don't believe any of these times anyway. And even if we decide to go home, we still need to get through the gauntlet that is Greenwich. So one way or another, we're going through hell of traffic hell. So we might as well try and commit and get to our friends, okay? Oh, this is not in my notes, but it was actually at this point that I noticed the biggest spider in the world had like made its spider web on my wing mirror. I had to have my window down because it was so like hot in the car, and I didn't like being that close to the spider web. So I just like batted the spider off of the wing mirror, and I was like, sorry, dude, you're not hitching a ride on my car. Anyway, that wasn't in the notes. That was just something I just remembered. Pretty sure the other cars around me saw me do that. But anyway, I say normally I don't mind driving in London at night, but people on the road were being bozos. Yeah, bozos in the night. Bozos in the night. Let's say maybe after an hour, about 10 p.m., from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., we get over here. So we make a tiny amount of progress. By the way, by this point, tunnel's still closed. Tunnel is fully closed. That tunnel's not opening and that's not an option. We have to go this way. But an hour, which is what it projected for the entire journey, we get here. And I'm still panicking. I'm like, if it took an hour to get here, how long is it going to take to get over there? Because everybody is doing the same thing. Everybody's just trying to get out of this little hellhole. If you thought people in the day were driving badly, it's already London anyway. People are already driving awfully in London anyway. At night, people drive even worse, and it's so stressful, but I'm just trying to keep my cool. Sophie did offer to drive. She said, like, I can take over and get us the rest of the way. But I was like, look, I might as well just, like, use the last of my energy to get us to where we're going. And then tomorrow she could do the drive a bit more fresh. So I was like, let me just like blast through the last of the drive. Let me just try and do it. Yeah, just a lot of people beeping and like cutting each other up, people being in the wrong lane. The one thing that annoyed me the most, the worst thing that happened, which wasn't even that bad, but it was hard to let go in the moment. There was like a road here. This is the road. It's like 2 lanes, except it kind of like, it merges. So like this becomes like a bus lane. So I'm here. I'm merging at 20 miles per hour. Because that's the speed limit. And then there's like this bozo back here who's definitely going 30. I know he's going 30 because he was trying to cut in front of me. He was trying to get in front of me before it like merged. I was closer, so I got in the lane, and he gets right up behind me and he starts beeping. It's like, dude, come on. I've been on the road for like what is it? 11 till 10 p.m. What is that? 11 hours. Give me a fucking break, man. I was ready. If somebody was gonna like kick off, I was getting ready to kick off because I was just not having it. And so he's beeping me, and then as if it could not get any more like pathetic and immature, he turns his full beams on to blind me. Like, that's the only reason you would put them on at that point. It's not for visibility. He literally put them on for like 10 seconds to blind me out of spite. That is not how that's not how you act on the road, man. It was killing me as well because he was in the wrong. Like, this was a moment where he was actually in the wrong and he still thought he was in the right. And so he was beeping me to intimidate me. He was blinding me with his full beams to intimidate me. And I was just so fed up, man. I was like, please, just everybody leave me alone. I just need to try and get to where I'm going. Anyway, so there was like a lot of little instances like that. We were slowly but surely making progress. Like, it was picking up. Like, we were making our way across bit by bit. Obviously, it was taking longer than the sat nav told us. You know, it was getting to about maybe 11 p.m. and we were here. We're like, okay, we left the retail park like 2 hours ago, but okay, fine. We're getting there. We are getting there. We're making progress. We're getting to our destination. We get on the bridge. We're finally crossing the bridge, and traffic's letting up a little bit now. And this last little part of the drive was actually quite pleasant. I actually like driving through these roads of like central London at night is not that bad. Like when there's less cars on the road, and it's actually quite nice. You end up driving through some really nice areas. We like drove right up against like St. Paul's Cathedral, and like it was all lit up and it was lovely. And like, honestly, it was at this point, it was getting okay. It was like, okay, I'm keep thinking we left Brighton 12 hours ago, man. 12 hours ago. But either way, we're getting to our destination. I think it's like 11:15 and we reach our destination. We reach our friends at 11:15 and we're like, oh my God, we're here. We get to our friends and they're like, you guys have been through hell today for us. We really appreciate that. We've booked you a hotel for tonight. Go refresh yourselves. And then tomorrow we'll we'll pick up tomorrow. The hotel was the other side of Blackwall Town. Yeah, so what they didn't say was the hotel was here. No. Can you imagine? It's a bed in the IKEA. Can you imagine? So we're like, okay, thank you so much. We went up to their place and we just hung out for half an hour. We chatted, we caught up a bit. We told them basically this story. We told them a very abridged version of this story. And then we went to bed. We went over to the hotel. We passed out immediately. I think it was maybe like midnight when we got to the hotel, and we sleep. Okay. Things are at least the story is coming to a close, everybody. We have a good night's sleep. I wake up a bit more refreshed. I feel good. I'm like, right, hotel breakfast, let's go. I'm going to kill a hotel breakfast. So we go down for breakfast, and yeah, the breakfast was okay. The food was okay. Had a couple of bits of this, bit of that. There was still one more mishap, though. There was still like one more thing. There was one more thing. I needed a green tea. I think yesterday I needed a green tea to really revitalize me and get me going for the day. So I get a cup at the hotel breakfast area. I get a packet of green tea and I'm looking at like the tap. I'm going to draw the tap. PJ, we know what a tap looks like. You don't know what this tap looks like. This is where the water comes out. It has like a sort of like an arm. I guess you put your cup like down here. Now the strange thing about it was it had like a symbol up here, like a weird, like the symbol was kind of like this. It was like some hieroglyphics, something that I could not decipher. Cold water there. And then it had a symbol for like, it had like a hot tea symbol there and a hot tea symbol there. And I was like, right, okay. These buttons must be like the hot water, I guess. Well, I start by pressing this button. It fills with cold water. Okay, rubbish. Tip it out. I press this button. Cold water. Rubbish. Tip it out. I'm like, okay, okay. How does this work? By the way, I'm like, after everything I went through yesterday, I'm like, How does this work? There's like no staff around, and I'm like, I just need someone. There's like no one around. I'm like, I just need someone to show me how this works. So I knock on the door. There's like a door over here, right? I walk over to the door, and there's like a lady in there, and I'm like, excuse me, hi. I can't figure out how to use the hot water tap. Do you mind showing me? She says, okay. Okay. So we walk back out. I'm not the best at receiving instructions generally, especially not after a day like I had yesterday. She starts explaining to me. She's like, okay, so what you need to do is you need to hold the red button, and then whilst it's flat, the other button's flashing. You need to press the other button whilst it's flashing. Let go of the button you're pressing and press the other button whilst it's flashing. I'm like, okay, all right, okay. She's explaining it. So I press this button, and water starts coming out. And she says to me, right, verbatim, no, stop, listen to what I'm telling you before you press anything. And I'm like, I just want a tea. I just want some hot water so I can have some tea. She says, no, stop. Listen to what I'm saying before you press the button. And I'm like, okay, I'm just a little frazzled is all. So she starts again from the beginning. She explains, press the button, the red button with one thumb. The other button will flash. Remove your thumb, then press the other button. And I'm like, okay. Then I got it. Then I was like, okay, right, now I get it. So then I do it, hot water comes out, whoop-de-doo, great, I have tea. I'm like, okay, thank you. Not the worst thing in the world, but just like, it was just like a moment where it was just like, this is the most complicated tap in the world. It was only like afterwards I realized it's probably like this to stop people from scolding themselves. Ironically, she scolded me for not understanding it. So one way or another, I was getting scolded by this tap. She scolded me for not understanding how it worked. But it's probably designed like that so people don't scold themselves on hot water. Either way, I get my tea, I sit down, I have the tea. It helps. We get dressed properly. We shower. We deliver the thing we needed to deliver to our friends. We're done. We actually have a nice little day in London, actually, with them. We spend a couple hours in London. We go get some lunch. We get some ice cream. That was nice. I bought a print, actually. Is it in here? Hold on. I bought this. I bought a print. I'm going to put it on the wall in here. Things were starting to look up. What flavor of ice cream? I got pistachio gelato, and I am not kidding when I say it was the best gelato that I've ever had. And I'm not calling it gelato to be pretentious. It was like a proper Italian ice cream. And it was pistachio, and it was so delicious. It was so creamy and amazing, and it was like just the best ice cream in the world. The saga comes to an end. All of like yesterday's madness, even though it's still like kind of like physically lingering, it kind of is amazing how quickly it's like, wow, that was yesterday, and now I'm here and it's done. There are so many moments when you're in the moment of like the madness where you're like, I don't see past this. I don't see a PJ that's not in traffic. I don't see a PJ that's not inside the madness. But then when you're out of it, when you are finally out of it, it feels like such a distant blip. Like that was Wednesday afternoon, right? It's now Friday afternoon. So that was like 48 hours ago. 48 hours ago now, I was in a hot car in 30 degrees London weather, in gridlock, wearing a jumper, moving nowhere, getting nowhere, feeling frustrated, feeling irritable, feeling awful. That feels like so long ago. Like I said, I streamed on Tuesday this week. That feels like months ago. But now I'm past it and it's done, and I'm not in that situation anymore. It's just crazy how when you're out of it, like when you're in it, you don't see past it, but when you're past it, you just whoosh, it's just gone. It's done. My final note is I need to get my aircon fixed. Yes, I need to get my aircon fixed. I was thinking like, even though the situation was terrible and we make getting nowhere in like 10, 11 hours, if the car had at least been cool, that might not have been so bad. The MVP was the waitress at Nando's who closed the blinds when we needed the blinds closed. The absolute MVP of the day. The lady at the hotel we stayed at who scolded me for not understanding how to use a tap, the bozo of the story. Actually, no, I think the bozo of the story was the person who flashed me. No, the bozo of the story was Blackwall Tunnel. No, the bozo of the story is London. London is so badly designed that a tunnel shutting down causes madness. I was looking on Twitter. I was looking at people talking about the tunnel. People were saying, because I was like, how normal is this? Does this happen ever? People were saying like they have never experienced anything this bad since COVID. Like something like this had it not been this bad since COVID. It was mad to me just how like the tunnel shuts down and London does not have the right infrastructure to not experience what happened here. This peninsula, you are stuck. The tunnel is the only way off, And so if you're here and this tunnel shuts down, you are stuck because everybody else back here also wants to do the same. No police directing the traffic. Nope. The TFL didn't do anything. Nobody did it. Nothing. Nobody did it. Sound like fucking character from Banjo-Kazooie. Nobody did anything. How was Fuji doing that during this? Fuji was here waiting for us to come home as we were supposed to. Luckily, she had plenty of food and Sophie's mum came over to give her some dinner when it was apparent that we were not coming home that night. She was like that John Travolta meme from Pulp Fiction. Just like, where the heck are they? Yeah, I have made a note here saying that the thing I kept thinking was, I wish I was at home with Fuji and not in London. That's my closing statement. Could have been worse. We're still here. We're alive. We have our health. In the moment, it sucked. It was a long-ass day. I've never experienced traffic quite like that before. But there was some, I guess it's resulted in a little story to tell you guys. So hopefully you enjoyed hearing the story. But that is effectively the end. That's the end.